In this tutorial, I want to take a look at exporting or saving your documents. First off, of course, you always want to save your InDesign documents. Now, one of the questions that comes up is being able to use InDesign documents in previous versions of InDesign, and that's really kind of a problem. Not so easy to do. If you go to export, you may be able to find the ability to use what's called InDesign CS4 interchange, which may allow you to open this in InDesign CS4, but it's possible that you may lose certain features, such as your object styles and effects. So you do have to be aware that not all features are there. Now you have some other abilities here, like Flash Pro XFL. Don't really know what it is, but it's possible. Swift, which outputs to a Flash format. Or even XML, which is just the XML version of your document, which we will talk about later if you're interested and you want to ask me about it. But you can also output to JPEGs, to just sample images, or you can output to PDF here. So if we choose one of these, you'll be aware that it will come up with a dialog box and then it'll choose export. And we'll talk about the PDF here in just a minute. If I do export to JPEG, you'll notice that it allows me to choose the range of images, and then I can also choose spreads or not. And it will also allow me to change the resolution of everything, so it's pretty amazing what you have the ability to export. So I'll export my spreads, and let's see what happens. So there's the actual documents it output as my spreads. Now, this is not a fancy document in any way. I'm trying to open up a video there, so that's not good. But it is pretty cool what you can export. So you can have just the JPEG images of your entire document, just like that. Now, the typical export that we're going to send out is going to be a PDF. So if you go to your file, you'll see there are actually presets here where you can choose to export from one of the presets that's here already very easily. Now, if I choose smallest file possible, you'll see it asks me for a file name. I'll hit save, and then it comes up with the dialog box that I got when I chose export. So there's no real difference. But you need to be aware of the different options when you with your presets. So your presets for high quality print versus smallest file really are talking about the next option down, which is compression. So if I go to compression, you'll see smallest file will downsample my images, and you can actually type in the numbers that you want it to downsample to, and you'll now see it says modified. If I go to high quality print, it downsamples it to a different setting. So you can actually set it so we do not downsample at all, and this means whatever quality of images you brought into your document will actually be used in the PDF. Now that's not always a smart thing, and the reason why is you typically do want to downsample these images so that if you brought something in that was higher resolution than you need, when you create the PDF, it will re-engineer that file so that the file that you end up with in the PDF is optimized for printing. And that's why printing from a PDF is faster than printing from the original InDesign document, because the files, the images, and everything else inside of that PDF have already been optimized in order to send the information to the printer quickly. Now, some of the other options here I do want to point out. So I'm going to go to smallest file possible, go to general, and one of the things that are here you'll see is the ability to turn on spreads or not. Spreads, of course, will print out my pages as spreads as you saw them in the pages dialog. So if there are 4 pages next to each other, that spread will include all 4 pages. If I don't have spreads on, then it will just do individual pages. So it'll do pages all, click on spreads, and some of these other options are very important as well. I can do embed page thumbnails. I can make sure that I view my PDF after exporting. I can optimize it for fast web view. I can create a tagged PDF of layers and things like that. I can also include interactive elements like bookmarks and hyperlinks and interactive elements for multimedia and whatever else, which would be an interactive PDF if we had set up those in the interactive panels of our document. I can also choose to output printers marks or not. So if I click on output printers marks, use the document bleed settings, then that will output. If I choose, let's see, output, I can convert things if I wanted to. I don't necessarily say that we should ever do that, but it is possible to do. I'll convert to destination. And my destination is going to be CMYK or RGB. I would generally leave it as sRGB because that is the default. Let's see, we can do advanced stuff, which deals with our transparency flattener, and our OPI is picture replacement stuff, which I'm not going to really worry about. But here's the major thing, which is the fonts. The fonts are embedded into the PDF so that you can print the original fonts as they look in your PDF. Now the problem with that is that not all fonts are going to embed, and it means that the fonts have to have appropriate embedding bits or permissions to be embedded, and you'll get a warning when you try and export your PDF and it says that the fonts cannot be embedded. So when that happens, you don't have any other choice but to either convert your fonts or your text to outlines for the fonts that can't be embedded, or to use a different font. The other thing down is security, where you can require password or other permissions. So you can make it so your clients cannot print your document, which is kind of cool. Or you can even give them a password to open the document. You want to be careful using that stuff because they don't generally look for a password. But that's about it. Summary will just tell you all the different options that you've got. If you have presets like this that you use often, you can save that as preset to use for later. Anyway, I will export this. There's overset text on page 5, which is probably this text right there. That's the warning that was coming up. Let's see the documents, transparency, blend space doesn't match destination color. So there will always be issues when you start dealing with the PDF, but might as well do it anyway. Anyway, here are the printer's marks that I have. Here's the original crop marks. There's the bleed marks on the outside. Here's the color bars. There's the registration marks. And of course, these are the 3 spreads that I'd played with. If I wanted to export individual pages, I'll go to smallest file size. Let me call this pages. I'm going to turn off spreads. Range is all pages, and pretty much I won't mess with anything else. I will look at the summary though and see if there's any problems here, and it probably has to do with output or something. There's got to be a problem somewhere. Ah, there it is. The preset features some fonts that are not embedded, so that's important. Overset text on page 5, transparency issues, and let's see. Here is the document now with 6 pages instead of individual spreads. So, or instead of 3 spreads. So you do need to know about your PDF options when you export. And that's really it for the tutorial. So let me know if you have any questions, and I think that's it. Thanks.